Nigerians' problem is really spiritual. Nigerians' problem is very, very, very spiritual. And I can say it for a fact. Scooby Doo, give up. You see this one up here? Dragging steering with, a lady. That's a road safety corps member. That's spiritual. You see how they change the price of petrol while people are still on the queue waiting to get, the petrol. That's spiritual. You see the long queue of vehicles wanting to get petrol. That's spiritual. In fact, everything is spiritual. Sound the alarm again, Scooby Doo. Now it's heartbreaking, because so many things has gone wrong in Nigeria, and this is not the time to take sides. This is not the time to back up any claims of the government, because the duty of criticism in government is to make the government see where they are lacking and how they can improve on it. So, Nigeria's problem is not spiritual. Sorry, Daddy Gio. You came out to protest against Goodluck Jonathan. Then it was not spiritual. It was termed bad government. It was termed the government should end the suffering of the people. The whole country protested against Goodluck Jonathan, including clergymen. Even our Daddy Gio was also among them. Then it was not spiritual.
I've come again this time around because it has become more and more clearer to us that the problems our nation is facing is more than political. That our problem will require quite a bit of spiritual solution. We as a country are blessed. We are blessed with people with great intelligence. We are blessed with all manners of resources, and yet we have so many problems. And it's not as if the people in authority are not trying their best. They're doing as much as humanly possible. And then we find that when you have problems that are beyond human's ability to solve, then you call on the Almighty. The reason we call him the Almighty is because he has the power to solve all problems. And so we have been going around.
Road safety not doing their job is spiritual. Bad roads in the country is spiritual. The government siphoning funds that is made to better the life of the people is spiritual. Hospitals, no good pipe-borne water, no electricity, dead refineries for the past 25 years is spiritual. Let's get serious. I know he's an elderly man, and yes, we respect his person, but the words, can be debated. Not to malign his personality or who he is, but the words he said has, to be corrected. He's a spiritual father. That is even out of the picture in this context. The context of this discussion is about, what he said as the problem of Nigeria is spiritual. The problem of Nigeria is not spiritual. It is the inability of the government to think of ways to better the life of its citizens. It is not spiritual. How can government not be able to make refineries work spiritual or produce, make an enabling environment for the people to thrive, be termed spiritual? That is why people get angry, because it's more or less as if their intelligence is being tampered with spirituality. We have more than 500 pastors in Nigeria, prophets. So are we to say that these more than 500 prophets and pastors cannot come together and conduct a deliverance session for Nigeria, since it is spiritual? In fact, we should just fix a day for Nigerian deliverance. Notice. We have to perform a deliverance session for Nigeria, and all notable pastors are hereby invited to conduct this deliverance for the country or the person called Nigeria. Because it is not something nice for young generations growing up, seeing how their parents suffered, striving to make ends meet in a country where the government has not been beneficial to the people, yet they keep imposing tax, trying to squeeze what the people already have without making provisions on what they have to do to survive. A father not being able to pay the school fees of his child because why? Due to inflation and all of that. Can that be termed spiritual? Money being budgeted for roads, can that be termed spiritual? In fact, let's take a look at this video, and it will explain how spiritual the African problem is all about. We'll be back. This is the spirituality our dad is supposed to talk about. This is the spirituality he's supposed to talk about in a physical context. Because these leaders, so-called leaders of ours, at the point in their life they've lived outside Nigeria. They've seen how things work. Just like our president Muhammadu Buhari has, just like our President Tinubu is, a friend to France. You see him time after time, flying to France. He's seen how the system works, and he has lived in Chicago, in the United States. He has seen how things work. He has seen how they govern from the grassroots. He has seen how health insurance has been beneficial to the life of the French citizens and immigrants at large. He has seen the benefits that the government, the palliatives and all of that, the subsidies that the government has imposed on virtually 90% of the economy. Regardless of the complaint of inflation and all of that, the government have tried their best, to provide cushion effect to all these problems. They have seen all of this and not being able to perform in that capacity in their own country. It cannot be spiritual. Instead of our daddy to mobilize and be on the street the same way they did in Goodluck Jonathan's regime, same also ought to be now. The time has come to stop the prayers for the country. Nigeria does not need prayers anymore. They need work. Industries keep living. Companies keep packing out of Nigeria, and we say it's spiritual. Even the Bible said, my people perish because they lack knowledge. It cannot be spiritual. Knowledge is not spiritual. It is wisdom that is spiritual. Knowledge is not spiritual. They perish because they lack knowledge. That is what the country is going through. It is not spiritual. People are suffering by the day. No food to eat. They can't even afford their transport fare to their working place. Can't even pay their rent. From time immemorial, the Nigerian refinery has never worked. The Nigerian electricity companies have never provided the stable electricity for the citizens to enjoy. That cannot be spiritual. Let's get serious. I raise my case.